Good morning, Knicks Nation. It is Monday, November 23rd, 2020. I hope you are safe. I hope your family's safe and healthy. And I hope you had a good weekend. Happy Monday. All right. Let's just quickly review what we have learned for those paying attention in Knicks Nation over the last 7 days, over the last 8 days, from last Monday to now. We started last Monday, if you recall, saying how this was going to be a big week for Knicks Nation and how we would know what our team was going to look like in Knicks Nation in a week. We have learned a lot. And as I stepped back and looked at this, there's some important things we need to understand that we kind of knew, but it's manifesting itself. Team Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau and Walt Perrin and Scott Perry, they're manifesting something that we need to pay attention to. And it's very good for us, Knicks Nation. We have been looking at players, right? Players that the Knicks are going to pick, players that they may sign in free agency. But we need to step back and understand something. Draft night should have told us something. So the Knicks had, the 8th, the 27th, and the 38th pick. They ended up at the end of the night with the 8th and the 25th pick, and they picked Obi Toppin, and they picked Emmanuel Quickley. And by the way, I got a chance to look at Emmanuel Quickley. This kid, along with Terrell Terry and Malachi Flynn and Aaron Nesmith, 4 best shooters in this draft. Okay, that's who we got. One of the best shooters in this draft. Now, I said earlier that Terrell Terry was the best shooter I had seen in this draft. Quickley's right there, though. He's right there. And so, yeah, we got something. Calipari wasn't joking. Calipari, one thing about him, like I knew, I can't say I personally knew him. I've met him multiple times. I was when he was at UMass. I personally met with him. I have talked to him, and he is a salesman, but when he's coming off telling you about his players, like most coaches, he'll hype, but he's usually trying to give you what it was. Like Kevin Knox, he told us it was going to take a couple of seasons for him to reveal how good he's going to be. So what he said about Quickley, he snickered. He said, the Knicks got one. He didn't say it's going to take a year. He didn't say any of that. He said, the Knicks got one. And he's right. We got one. We'll talk about more of that in a second. But stepping back, on draft night, we saw the Knicks make several moves to get to Emmanuel Quickley. And some people, we are so used to incompetence from the Knicks management that our first reaction is criticism. Between that and the Knick haters in the media and people that listen to that and regurgitate it, the first reaction is always they don't know what they're doing. That's the first reaction. And it's so sick that there are people that are like, we got to change what we're doing, we got to change the culture. And then they turn around and say, well, let's trade everything with Russell Westbrook. Let's trade everything and get John Wall. Because the mentality, it hasn't changed. But let me tell you something. The Knicks have changed. You could talk about Dolan all you want. He finally got it right. He got it right this time. See, he thought he had it when he went out there to Wyoming or where the hell to talk to Phil Jackson and beg him to come to the Knicks. He thought he could just hand it to him. He didn't realize that Jackson kept telling him no for a reason and then decided, okay, I'm going to take you $60 million and waste it. And so, but he's learned. Then he went and picked up Leon Rose. Now, listen, check this out. What we should have learned on draft night, the way they got Emmanuel Quickley, what they were doing was masking what they wanted. They didn't want another team to pick it. See, there's games being played. What I'm saying to y'all is the Knicks are playing chess now. Chess is a game of strategy, a game where you have to look several moves ahead and anticipate your opponent's moves in order to get to the point where you can capture their king. Okay? You have to think several moves ahead and anticipate your opponent's moves and have a strategy to get to capture their king. The Knicks are playing chess. The Knicks media, a lot of the Knicks fans are still in checkers. They're not playing checkers anymore. Not only did they get off the crack, not only that, while they were in rehab, they learned how to play chess. And they got very good at it. And then finally I understand something I didn't understand before, Knicks Nation. Like, okay, Rob Pelinka, right? The cat in Golden State, Myers, right? And a couple other guys, and now Leon Rose. I'm like, why are all these agents, becoming, management in teams? I thought it was just because they could attract players. That's what a lot of people thought, right? Well, they met a lot of players. They can attract players. Listen, man, I was involved with agents, like I said, back at UMass with John Calipari. The game was over my head. I was going to be an agent, but the game was over my head. It was way over my head because agents play chess, not just in terms of recruiting players, but once they get a client, the really good agents, they play chess among the teams to get their player the money and the position they want to get into. They're used to playing chess. That's when it hit me. That's why we got Leon Rose. And that's why they went and got the capologist. They know now they got the crew to play chess. Okay? That's what the Knicks are doing. Y'all need to be patient. These cats know what they're doing. Now, are they going to make mistakes? Everybody makes mistakes. But I'm going to tell you something. They're not going to be a lot of them. They're not going to be a lot of them. Okay? So, draft night, they showed us. Because if all the teams knew they were going after quickly, somebody would have snatched him and try to play the Knicks to get picks or something to try to get him if they knew they wanted him. But they kept maneuvering and masking what they wanted and then snatched him. People say he could have been there in the second round. No, he wouldn't. Not if people knew the Knicks wanted him. You understand? So they're playing chess. And they ended up with one of the best shooters in the draft. Playing chess. People, I know there's the CAA connection, there's the Kentucky connection. Right. But whoever's going to make this team better at the long term, that's who these cats are going to get. Okay? So then we see, last week, here come free agency. And I'm talking about Bogdanovich, Hayward, Beasley, Van Fleet, right? And I'm talking about overpaying. That's what I'm saying. I was like, they got to overpay to get some pro level shooters. Nah, man. Leon said, no. We're not overpaying for these cats. Cause we all understand this is not the strongest free agent class we've ever seen, right? It's not the strongest free agent class we've ever seen. LeBron ain't in this class. And even though AD is technically in it, he's technically, cause we're going to go back to the Lakers. Okay. And even though Brandon Ingram is in it, he's really not, cause we know he's going to sign with the Pelicans. Okay. So, they weren't going to waste money. And at the same time, what did they show us? Listen, I've seen some tweets. I don't want to say the word stupid. I've seen some tweets that just are silly. Look what the Knicks got. They re-signed Elfrid Payton for $5 million. They got Nerlens Noel for $5 million. Alec Burks for $6 million. They went and they had Ed Davis and then they flipped him. Chess move. And they got Austin Rivers and they got, Omari Spellman and Jacob Evans. Now, be careful now. The Omari Spellman, Jacob Evans, there's something coming. I don't know what it is. There's another move coming. These are fillers, man. These are fillers. The Knicks just turned Ed Davis, a journeyman, into 3 second-round picks. In a couple of days, y'all. In a couple of days. They turned Ed Davis into 3 second-round picks in a couple of days. That's chess, y'all. That's chess. And I think they're going to flip some of these picks with Spellman, with Evans into something else. I don't know what's going on. I'll tell you what I'd like to see. We've been talking about Charlotte being a pretty good trade partner for us fit-wise, right? Because Charlotte did not draft, they drafted Vernon Carey. He's not ready to start and lead them anywhere. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he's not going to make no impact this year. They just got LaMelo Ball. I'm going to tell you something right now. LaMelo Ball, Scary Terry, and Devontae Graham are not all going to be happy. They're going to start LaMelo Ball. He's box office. I hate to sound like Stephen A. Smith, but in this case, it's true. Down in North Carolina, LaMelo Ball is box office. Jordan going to sell them tickets, and that boy's going to be on the court. So that means Scary Terry and Devontae Graham, somebody going to come off the bench. Scary Terry came down there to start. He did not leave Boston and come to Charlotte to come off the bench. Devontae Graham making 1.6, and he turned out last year. So business-wise, what's the best thing to do? You got to move Scary Terry. That's the best thing to do. If you're going to move one of them. Okay? So I'm looking at Scary Terry and Malik Monk for Julius Randle and Dennis Smith Jr. I don't know if it's going to happen. We did a video on it. We did a video on it already. Okay? A couple months ago, right? You look back through the archives, you can see we did one. And they might be revisiting that. But then again, like I said, these cats playing chess. I could be totally wrong. But another move is coming. I don't know what it is. And I'm telling you this, I think it's going to be this week before Thanksgiving. I can tell you that. It's going to be this, it might be today. It's going to be sometime this week before Thanksgiving. Because these cats, at the end of the day, they got to go to whatever city they're going to be in because training camp's December 1st. That's next week. Right? So they got to go to wherever they're supposed to be for training camp. Right? So the next move getting ready to be made. I don't know what it is, but something's happening. And let me tell you something else, man. What else the Knicks showed us? They are going to play these kids. Frank is going to start. I mean, I'm really surprised if he doesn't, but I can guarantee you this. He's going to play more than 30 minutes a game. This is a kid that has had 4 head coaches in 4 seasons. Wait a minute. Let's look at it. Jeff Hornacek. And then, Derek, whatever his name was from the Lakers. And then, what's that other cat name, with the rim glasses? Him. And then, what's his name? What's that boy name? And then Fizdale. Then Mike Miller. And now Tibbs. And only was playing 20 minutes a game and not consistent at that either. So I don't know what y'all expecting from this boy when he wasn't even handled right. Okay? But now he's got a coach that fits what he does to his strengths, which is defense. He's got a coach that focuses on defense. This boy's going to play some minutes this year. Somebody was talking about Lonzo Ball. The hell with Lonzo Ball. Let me tell you something, man. Lonzo Ball been playing 32 minutes a game since he stepped in the league as the number 2 overall pick. He been able to play through every mistake. He been able to play though he ain't shooting even 50% from the line. And y'all talking about Frank, who shot 80% from the line last year? Stop it. He ain't playing 20 minutes per game, man. Then he was getting hurt too. Look, this is Frank's year. Period. Y'all don't like it? GTFOH. If y'all don't like it. Kevin's gonna play. Mitch is gonna play. Of course, RJ's gonna play. Obi's gonna play. And surprisingly, Emmanuel Quickly gonna play. You know what else I've realized this year that is different for Thibodeau? In his 8 seasons, his teams win, man. I'm saying his teams win. And in his 8 seasons, because they win so much, he never had a lottery pick as a head coach. He never got a lottery pick. He never had that. So he was always dealing with late first rounders, second rounders, or people that like Derrick Rose that was already on the team in his 3rd year when he got there. This year's a little different because he got a lottery pick and he got a shooter. I wouldn't be surprised if both these kids play. The guys they picked, Peyton, Noel, Burke, these are career backups, man. Now, Peyton was drafted in the lottery by Orlando. But since they traded him, he went to Phoenix, then he went to New Orleans. He's been a backup. Okay. He started in New Orleans a little bit, but he basically, since he got drafted and Orlando gave up on him, he's been a backup. Okay. When the Knicks drafted him and made him the starter, that was not something that he was going to get from any other team. So they overpaid him and made him a starter. And that took away minutes from Frank. No. Peyton, Noel's been a career backup. Burke is a career backup. Austin Rivers is a career backup. Spellman and Jacob Evans was in the G League. They were in the G League. Okay. Spellman is like a 39% 3-point shooter. So if they kept him, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. Something's coming. And these two cats are I think they're going to be pawns in the deal. But all these guys are career backups. They're going to let these kids play because they're showing everybody they're not trying to spend all their money this year. They're going to play the kids. And these veterans are there to support the kids, which we need. And Thibodeau is going to put Thibodeau on these kids. Whoever doesn't want to hang, whoever can't stay in the fire, getting out the kitchen, period. Can't stand the heat, getting out the kitchen. Okay? So yeah, So Jeff Horner said Kurt Rambis, that's right, what I was thinking about. Derek, Derek Steele and Matt Bond's wife. Frank been through all these coaches, man. So, look, man. Nah. They getting ready to play these kids. And it's not even necessarily, it's not even necessarily to get a big fish next year. The media already setting that up. Listen how they did it. Knicks missed out on Bogdanovich. Knicks missed out on Fred VanVleet. They ain't miss out on nothing. They just wasn't going to overpay. See, the media is treating the Knicks like they the old Knicks that played checkers. No, baby. These Knicks playing chess. And even the media ain't with it. You're going to start to see media start to say stuff like, oh, the Knicks might know what they're doing. You're going to start to see that. Listen, Knicks Nation, we already know they know what they're doing. Okay? They playing these kids. And look, those of us that have confidence in the kids we drafted Frank, we drafted Mitch, we drafted RJ, we drafted Kevin Knox, we drafted Quigley, we drafted Obi. We know these kids could play. They just need the right staff, coaching, development, opportunity. It's coming this year. They're going to get it this year. Okay? And they got these veterans. Burke is a career backup. He's going to come off the bench this year. Nerlens Noel is perfect behind Mitch. I mean, perfect behind Mitch. Okay? Matter of fact, I believe that if Noel plays the way I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to play very well. He's a very efficient backup center in terms of production wise. Blocks, rebounds, runs the floor, finishing dunks. He's going to be very good. And then anytime Mitch is twisting his ankle and is out, this is a good guy to come in. You're not going to miss a beat. I can see them turning him into a long-term backup. That would be perfect. You get a guy like this. All of a sudden now next year, maybe you sign him, 3 years, 30, because he'd improve himself. Especially if we end up winning. Oh, by the way, let me straighten this out. I kept saying to y'all I want 35 wins, but that was based on an 82 game schedule. I need y'all to understand that. Some of y'all pointed out, but I just didn't explain it, but that's what I meant. 35 wins based on an 82 game schedule, which the equivalent now, we have a 72 game schedule, is 31 wins. So I'm looking for 31 wins this year. If they were to win 35 this year, that would be the equivalent of 40 wins in an 82 game schedule. If they were to win 35 games this year, which, is possible. I think this team is built to win 31 this year, which is the equivalent of 35 in a regular year. And I think if they can avoid the injury bug, that's key now. They can avoid the injury bug, and Tibbs gets them to overachieve, which he can. He's done it before. This is not the first rodeo with this cat doing stuff like this. They can go to 35, 36 wins. And now we're talking about pushing for the AC. That's if they overachieve. But I'm going to be very happy if they get 31 wins this year. They go 31 and 41. It's a losing record, but 31 wins is, again, even in a shortened season, more wins than we got the last few years. And it would be the equivalent of 35, which is a 14 win increase from last year. Okay. So, yeah, the Knicks are getting ready to make another move. I don't know what it is. I don't even know how big it is. I just know it's another move coming. I'm feeling, though, it's a move to move Randall. I feel like it's a move that's involving Randall. I don't know who it is with or whatever, but it's a move involving Julius Randall. And some of these guys, well, okay. Noel and Rivers are signed. Peyton is signed. Burke is signed. So I don't think it's going to involve any of them four, but Jacob Evans and Amari Spellman, yes. As much as I hate to say it, it might involve Dennis Smith Jr. if it's going to Charlotte. And the reason I say it is because he's from North Carolina. He's a big presence in the community down there. That would also be a ticket sales thing for Jordan, because if Dennis Smith Jr., who went to North Carolina State, is from North Carolina, the community loves him. If he went there to Charlotte to play permanently, that would be good for business as well. Plus, you got another kid to develop. Plus, we get back Scary Terry, and I'm thinking that's the deal. Get back Scary Terry and Malik Monk. Malik Monk, of course, would be another shooter. Okay, he hasn't shot the ball well in the NBA, but I think most people don't understand. Sometimes it takes some of these kids a couple of years, really, to get used to the NBA. Malik Monk was a tremendous shooter at Kentucky, and not always that translates, but with him, I think it will, because his athleticism is off the chart. So he's going to need a development staff. He's going to need some help, but I think he can come off the bench and score for us. I think he really can. So let's see what happens. I may be wrong, but I'm thinking another deal is coming. And I think we're going to know before Thanksgiving. We're going to know before Thanksgiving what's up. Because like I said, these guys have got to get to wherever they got to get to be ready for training camp. So it's got to happen soon. And the way the Knicks are playing chess, they probably already arranged it. And everything else that's being made manifest, like all of these trades and these second round picks, are just preparing for the deal that they have set up. We just don't know what it is. And I love the fact that they're keeping this mess out the press. Press is guessing. The Knicks missing on this. They don't even know what the Knicks are doing. That's good. But we know they're playing the kids, man. They're getting ready to play the kids. And this is good. This is very good. So, Knicks Nation, we got a management team that plays chess. NBA level chess. We got a coaching staff that develops young players. We got a head coach that specializes in defense. We got a foundation like I have not seen. I have not seen this since Pat Riley was here. Okay. And even when Pat Riley came, they were getting a lot of free agents. They weren't really developing anybody when Pat Riley was here. When Jeff Van Gundy took over, he was developing players. He was developing kids, So, even though they still were trying to get trades and move quick, but Van Gundy was developing and pushing people to get better. And of course, Tom Thibodeau was on that staff. We got a good foundation, y'all. I haven't seen this in a long time. We got a good foundation. The Knicks are going to be in good shape as long as they stay the course and do what they do. And that's why they're not letting anybody know what they're doing. They don't need to be hearing from people that don't know what's going on or don't understand their moves. They just sticking to the grindstone, doing what they got to do. That's what they need to do. We're in good shape, y'all. We in the chess game, and we not on crack anymore. Shalom.